Maintaining a significant weight loss is a daily battle with your body playing for the wrong team. Pat Coakley. That would be me, Pat Coakley. And this is episode 39 of Podsnacks, the weekly edition of the daily blog, www.artofthediet.com. And this week's tips for weight management come from Laura, an 8-year lifetime Weight Watcher member who once was in jeopardy of being kicked out of Weight Watchers because her weight went too low. Getting pregnant with twins was her response. So we all have our own story, and Laura is no exception. In fact, on the surface, she may appear to have little in common with my daily battle with my body playing on the wrong team. But if you listen closely, and I'll talk a bit about this at the end, there are actually many similarities, plus tips. She's capable of creating daily habits that she doesn't end up resenting and can live with. For that reason alone, I think you might enjoy meeting Laura. The show notes page is at www.artofthediet.com/39. So you came back.
But it was several, it was 4 years later, really.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, I know how to do this. I did it before. I still have all my paperwork, all my little books, but I couldn't. I knew what to do, but I couldn't do it. I needed the community.
Yeah.
So I walked back in October 9th, 07, and I celebrate that date more than my goal weight when I reach it the second time, because that's what changed my life.
Really?
That's walking through that door again is what, and I guess the first time too, but I guess more the second time, because the decision to walk through the door and do it again
was a big one.
Was huge. I guess because I wasn't losing weight. I was.
What was the voice telling you not to go? Can you articulate what that voice was like?
I guess it was just time and management of, I've got these 2 toddlers. They were 4 years old. I didn't have daycare for them.
Fatigue. What the thought of how you can do it.
How am I going to manage doing this?
Yeah.
So when I walked in, and I was 150 pounds in 07, and I lost about 25 pounds. Took me longer. Took me until January 08. So that was what? October, November, December, January. 3 months instead of 2 months, whatever. And it was harder. It was harder the second time.
But still, compared to others, that was a rapid.
Yes.
Even though they predict a certain amount, the reality is, as we know, not many do it.
Right.
With that.
And the reason that worked for me was I followed the program. I counted my points. I measured my food. I weighed my food. I wasn't crazy, because dinner was always kind of
up in the air.
Difficult
to control.
Yeah, and how do you count those points? Because I didn't make a meal for myself and something for everybody else. And the other complicating factor is my oldest daughter has food allergies. So I don't make her separate thing. We all eat the same thing. So it was hard to count those points. So
yeah,
I didn't fudge on that, but like if we had chicken, I tried to make it as plain as, with not a lot of stuff. Well, with her food allergies, we ate kind of plainly anyway, and not a lot of packaged stuff, because she's allergic to it all.
Right.
So it was, most of the stuff we eat is not prepackaged stuff. It's fresh foods and stuff, just because that worked. But anyway, so I kept the program. I followed my points. I didn't do you have so many extra points a week. Once in a great while, but I wouldn't count those very much. And I wasn't going to the gym. I don't enjoy the gym, but I walk a lot.
By design or just by virtue of your day and what you do? It's not like you going out for a walk.
Well, I have a dog, so I do. You know, I have to take her for a walk all the time. I'm off leash, and I'd be in the woods, and I enjoy the outdoors and just being active. I'm just an active person. I like to ride bikes, and my family, my kids, they're all very active. So I'd be up. So I didn't enjoy the gym. There was one time in my life I did spinning, you know, the bicycle thing. But I thought, why am I getting up at 6:30 on a Saturday to do this? I would.
Yeah, because you're an active person anyway, so it's not like you were going to be a couch potato if you didn't go spinning.
Some of the kids, you know, we'd hop on our bikes and go riding. Even, you know, my twins learned to ride a two-wheeler when they were 3.5. Wow. So we were out there
moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that took you 3 months, and then what happened?
Well, I became a lifetime member, and it was easier to maintain. At this point, so I maintained ever since 08.
Since 08.
Since 08.
All right, so we're talking 8 years. What kind of person are you in terms of what are your go-to foods? Like some people, that smoothie
I know
is a go-to.
I need to chew. So apples are a big thing.
Okay.
Carrots. Free things. Like if I'm hungry between, I want to have something that's free. Like raw carrots, celery, an apple, an orange. And I'm not going to sit there and eat 3 apples. Yeah. But it's chew factor. Crispy. And it's crispy and it's
crunchy.
Crunchy and it's juicy. Juicy.
Okay. Juicy. Okay. Now, are there times when the sweets appeal to you?
Yes. Absolutely. And I keep those Weight Watcher I call them candy bars. They're the mini bars. They're like 2 points, I think. Yeah. And I can have one of those, and that'll satisfy. Yeah. But in the last meeting, they were saying, "What can you advise this person when they're hungry?" Whatever. People saying, "Drink water." And this is not healthy, but coffee. I drank a lot of coffee when I was in the midst of losing my weight. Because I'd be like, I need something right now. And I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts and I'd get coffee with milk, not cream, and I would have, I wouldn't do the drive up. I'd go in so I could control how much sweet and low was going in it. But I usually don't use sweet and low, but when I had a craving, I would you just need a little, not even a half a package, and that
sort of the sweet,
had the sweet, the caffeine, I don't know, and that would help me get over the hump.
Are breads an issue?
Yes. My husband, we used to make bread in the bread machine, one of those, I forget,
I know, I can see it.
Or something.
I can see it.
Because we could not find bread that was safe for my daughter.
Okay.
So we'd have to make it. Mm-hmm. And he would do it in this bread machine. And it was so good. I just love bread. And then he'd take it out and I'd say, I got the heel. And I'd cut the heel off and have it with butter. And then after, so while she was living at home, we would always have that bread. And I would eat a heel and that was it. But I would, for sandwiches and stuff, that's the bread we had. But I could eat half a loaf of warm bread, just plain. Yeah. So when she went off to college, he stopped making it, and it was just as well because there's certain things I just can't have. So breads,
so the sweet things. Are there any other trigger kind of
trigger?
They talk about that word.
Yes, like those Snyder's pretzel pieces, that the mustard onion ones. Those little not the nuggets, but the pieces.
I'm giving her a thumbs up.
Yes, I love those. I can't have those in the house because I can't stop M&Ms. Yeah, you can't have those.
What do you think it is about you, Laura, that has made you literally? We're in single-digit percentages of people who have been able to keep it off this long. Is it? Do you think? Your character, your personality, skills you acquired? Where do you think?
I think it's both. It's all of those things. Okay. I think it was harder the second time to lose the weight than the first time, and I thought, I'm not doing this again because when I do it again, it's going to be even harder. So I don't want to find myself in a situation again where I have to.
When you were a young girl, did you have a weight issue?
No. I was skin and bones. I had I guess high metabolism. I could eat whatever I wanted. It really wasn't, even in college when the freshman 15, I gained some, but not what people do, I guess, because I'm an active person, I guess. It wasn't until the kids started coming along that I wouldn't even say what's a problem, but I was not satisfied. I was not happy with, seeing my weight go up and not being able to. So I never had to lose.
Right.
When I was like in middle school, I remember people would say, my mother's friends would say, "Oh, never too rich. You can never be too rich or too thin." And my mother was a little bit worried about. Maybe I even had
the other way.
The other way, somewhat.
Yeah.
But no.
Do you remember restraining yourself from eating, even though you were thin?
No. When I would get nervous
or denying yourself,
I would not feel hungry. I would be nervous and I'd feel kind of nauseous if I was really anxious about something.
Yeah.
But no, I never had to think about dieting or.
Because I think that's a real difference in some of the Weight Watcher people. Some of us are lifelong, from early ages, roller coaster dieters, and then others like yourself, their early childhood, teen, college years were not with a weight issue, but it was often pregnancy that would start the train. So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm also driven, I have a goal, I know how to get there, and I'm going to do it. And if you have the structure for how to do it, I can do that. Self-control. If I wanted a muffin, when I was starting Weight Watchers, even both times, and no, I looked to see how many points it was, and I said, well, or whatever. I thought, well, I could have half, and that's half the points, and I still get it. And
so are you negotiating all the time with your day-to-day?
Not so much. I guess it's become more a part of my life, but when I was actively losing, I could look at something and it's not worth the points to eat that. It's really not worth the points.
You had much more of a black and white structure where if it fell in that gray area, you weren't going there.
Right, exactly.
What's your relationship with the scale? I'd be interested to know that, because for so many years when you were growing up, it was not a humiliating experience.
Right. I didn't have a scale. I didn't own one until the first round one of Weight Watchers. Okay. And then I would only weigh myself once a week on weigh-in day.
Which is what they recommended then.
Yeah. So, and because I could weigh myself without any clothes on, so I would know what I'm actually. And then when you get to Weight Watchers, and I had my weigh-in outfit, but still, it would be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now I weigh every so often when I feel like, I'll before I get in the shower, I'll say, I think I feel like I'm about whatever, and I'd get on the scale and say, oh, I'm less than that. Or like my husband and I went to New York 2 weekends ago, and we went out for drink. I mean, I didn't go overboard, but I thought, we don't go to New York City overnight. I'm not going to deny myself, but I didn't. We had
go hog wild.
No, either. I had one drink when we went out for drinks. For dinner, I didn't finish my plate because it was just way too much food. Yeah. And I was, I'm able to. That was something that was hard for me to do
before. Was not to clean
my plate.
Yeah.
Because growing up, you cleaned your plate.
Yeah.
And then we had another drink. I didn't get any dessert. But I wasn't in my own comfort zone of home and what I normally would eat. And we walked a ton. So come back, and I did not. Did I gain a little bit, like 0.2 or something? But I thought I surely would have lost without walking, and I didn't. So that was a little bit of a wake.
Let me ask you this: when you are just about to step on the scale and you say to yourself, "Well, I think I might be up. I think I might be down. Whatever." How often are you correct in your initial assessment?
I don't vary that much from month to month. I mean, it's under a pound when I'm up or I'm down or whatever.
All right, so it's never more than a pound?
Yeah, maybe a pound and a half. But it's never, like, I've got all my books from way back from 2000. And if I could, and one day, maybe when I have some time on my hands, I'll graph that. Yeah. But my body likes to be in a certain place, and I'll maybe, it's like, a pound here, up and down, but it's
right. So you've really not varied beyond a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds
not really.
From your goal weight for 8 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to, like, at Christmas time, I lose a lot. Usually, I didn't this much so much, but I'm busy and I'm kind of like stressed out, and I don't.
That's when you lose your appetite.
That's when I just don't. Yeah. Some people stress eat. I don't. I go the other way.
It sounds to me like you may have those, eat the chip days, but you don't often have several of them strung together.
Right.
So
so I remembered recently, popcorn. I can do the popcorn, the Jolly Time.
Yeah.
Which was a tip I got from Weight Watchers a long time ago. You can eat the whole bag and it's only however many points. Yeah. So I got to remember to do that. But the other thing that I think works for me is I'm a creature of habit. So I pretty much eat the same things for breakfast and lunch.
That's interesting. Okay.
I have a variety of, like, 3 or 4 different things I'll eat for breakfast. Like, cereal is usually my go-to. And I have the same, like, 3 different kinds of cereal that I'll eat.
What kind of cereal?
Raisin Bran Crunch. It's crunchy. Yeah. It's got a little bit of the sweet with the raisins. Yeah. And I know how much a cup looks like in my bowl, and I know how much a half a cup of milk looks like. Yeah. And I'll eat that, and that's it. When I'm hungry mid-morning, I'll have an apple. Mm-hmm. For lunch, I have a turkey sandwich. Mm-hmm. And sometimes for a treat, I'll put mayonnaise on the bread, but mostly it's mustard, because mustard is not any points. Yeah. I'll have a piece of cheese, and sometimes the pickles that aren't, I don't think there are any points in pickles, I forget. But they're not, the sweet pickles. I do have cheese because I like that extra protein. Sometimes if I have it, I'll have lettuce on it, or pepper that I slice up. Mm-hmm. And
do you carry snacks with you?
Well, I will throw an apple in my bag. Weight Watcher, those cheese sticks. Yeah, I'll have that. Mm-hmm. So sometimes somebody at Weight Watchers, one of the weigher people, said, when I was saying I'm struggling, she says, keep an apple in the car and eat it on the way home. So that's a good idea. So I've been doing that. So at least I have some of the driving home. Before I get home, I've had an apple. I've had the crunch. I've had the stress release from that. And then for lunch, that's pretty much what I'll have every single day. I mean, it vary a little bit here and there. I might have, an egg for lunch, on an English muffin or something. But I don't vary that much.
Dinner you do.
Dinner I do, but I try, like pasta. I know what a cup looks like. And I'm like, okay, but I want a little more than that. And we eat a lot of vegetables. So the thing that varies a lot is dinner. But
so you get variety, but it's generally one.
And I'm not bored with breakfast or lunch. It's like, that's why it's hard when I, like in New York, like, okay, I'm not going to have my bowl of cereal for breakfast. So what am I going to have? I'm going to have a bagel. I'm going to, really enjoy this bagel. And so I don't know. I think that's part of why I've been able to maintain.
Yeah. You're capable of habits without fighting them.
Right.
A lot of us, I think, can create a habit and then be really angry. We have to have this habit. And so we start saying, yeah, I know I should do it, but I'm not going to do it.
I do a summer porridge with oatmeal. You do it overnight. You do oatmeal, yogurt, cut up fruit and leave it overnight. Like I make a big thing and you put it in individual jars, and in the morning, so the oats have absorbed a lot of the yogurty stuff, and I do put honey in that, and that's delicious. But I don't like it in the winter because it's cold. You eat it cold. I haven't counted points for years.
Okay.
I just don't count points because I eat the same things all the time.
Yeah.
And it's more
food choices that you
and it's a way of life. Like I know sort of instinctually now,
yes.
like if I eat this, right, then later on I'm going to make a different choice. Yeah. But it's just part of my life now.
Yeah, it's a fluid sort of reckoning that you make, that you start off with a good base. Right. Right. So you don't have to do the external tracking and points and
And I think I haven't really counted for years. And
what would you like to see in a support for a lifetime member?
If you're a lifetime, and so your goal and the rule is you have to maintain for 6 weeks, is it now? And then your lifetime, something like that. Mm-hmm. So you have to come once a month to weigh in.
And can't be 2 pounds over.
So I think what would be awesome would be once a month, and it's advertised so you know when that is. If you choose to come, so after the regular meeting, you have either the leader or one of the weigh-in people who's trained to have an after meeting lifetime meeting. So you come in and you do your weigh, your once a month weigh, and you don't have to come on that day, but if you choose, you will have support. So like a regular meeting, you say, you know what, I cannot find, I'm continuing to lose weight. I don't know how to eat, so I maintain. I don't, having a hard time with that. Or
because that's, for example, that's a problem that I have never heard addressed in any Weight Watcher meeting in 7 years.
Well, I think maybe they do a better job of it now than the first time, because when I reached my goal weight the second time, they said, okay, you need to add 4 points now so that you will maintain.
But that was at the scale.
Yes, that's right. Not in a meeting. That was at the scale. You're right. So I think that would be, because we do struggle. We struggle. I mean, I've maintained for 8 years, I guess, and it's not a difficult struggle, but it's
mental struggle.
It's always there. It's always thinking. It's part of my life, so it's not a separate thought process like when I was actively losing. You know what I mean?
I really don't know what you mean.
It's a part of my life, but because it's a part of my life, I'm not thinking about it like breathing. You don't think about breathing unless you're doing meditation and whatever, but on your normal day-to-day, you're not actively thinking about how you're breathing. And I'm not thinking about my weight loss journey or maintaining that way, but it's there. Yes.
Well, let's pretend that this is a lifetime meeting just with lifetime members, and you want to give them a recommendation of some bread or some sweet or some equipment or something that helps you. One recommendation.
Well, I guess one of the things, I get a sweet craving once in a while, and when I have my Weight Watcher things with me, or in the house available.
What
to me.
particular one?
Oh, I guess my all-time favorite that they've never gotten rid of is the chocolate caramel little mini bar thing. Okay. But if I don't have that and I want something the little fun size of M&Ms.
Okay.
So I can open a package, have one.
Yeah.
My husband, for my Valentine's Day, he bought, because he knows I love M&Ms, he bought like a pound bag, and he bought 2 because it was 2 for 1. And I said, no, I gotta have the individual bags. He says, but you don't get as many. I said, I don't care. It's not about the money. It's about one package. Because if you have the whole open thing, I'm gonna sit there.
2 pounds.
And oh my God, it was awful to have that in the house.
Oh my God. I really want to thank you for doing this. I appreciate it so much. My thanks to Laura. And I'm going to pick up on her very last comment to me when she was talking to her husband, saying, it's not about the money, it's about the package. And I think that really sums up the similarities that I see between Laura and myself, and perhaps you can see in her story. It's not that we began life with the same issue. She did not have a weight issue until post her first pregnancy, and it didn't seem to be a very significant weight issue either. Her first loss was 25 pounds, but to her it was significant. She did not like being 25 pounds overweight. And then she got pregnant with twins, and she had to make a return trip to Weight Watchers. And as you can tell, she really had trouble getting herself to the meeting. It was 4 years after the birth of her twins. She had lost, 50 of the 80 pounds that she had gained, but that remaining 30 was troubling her, but also having to go back to Weight Watchers was troubling her. I think most of us can relate to that, regardless of whether the rest of the journey is similar. And she also said it changed her life, which, given how data-driven she is and how practical and how she allows habits to really ingrain in her day, was an emotional statement. She really feels that the structure that she learned in this program and the way they went about breaking down how you can get through a day was life-changing for her. And so 8 years later, even though she doesn't use e-tools or the website, she has all her Weight Watcher books. That's a lot of books. So it's obviously important to her, as it is to all of us, when we achieve something. And to me, the takeaway is that she does not dwell, as I do, on every day I've got to do this battle, and I'm sort of mad I have to do this battle, to be honest. It's like, wow, isn't it ever over? And the answer is no, it really isn't. And she doesn't seem to waste much energy on that because there's nothing she can do about it. But she does incorporate these rather, to me, strict habits, the eating the same breakfast and lunch every day as well as snack. And she doesn't battle against it. And in fact, it seems to help her. It seems to dampen the stress of having to make daily decisions about 3 meals as opposed to 1 meal. I think that's a takeaway that some of us could experiment with. I also think that her limiting of the portions suggests that she would feel, if left on her own with those 2-pound bags of M&Ms, it's not going to be pretty. So she knows herself. She knows her body on some level is really wanting to have that pound of M&Ms or that whole package of Snyder's pretzel bites. And she just doesn't bring them into the house in that form. The fun size pack of M&Ms, fine. She'll have wine on Friday and Saturday night, not any other day of the week. She's not going to have cheese in the house because cheese is something she really likes. She controls her environment with a degree of tenacity that I admire, but I also think that it helps her be free of the stress that these chronic daily eating issues presents us. She's just much more practical about it than I am, for example, where I could have a plan for 3 days and work it. But that fourth day, I'm sort of tired of doing that plan, and I want to start freestyling. And the freestyling doesn't always work, and I'm sailing off the cliff going, oh my God, here we go again. So I admire her steadfastness and her steadiness and her consistency, but I think it is also something that works for her. She has less stress because of it rather than more stress. And the takeaway for me is that I'm going to experiment with being a little more rigid about some of my habits and see whether that can reduce some of the stress that I bring to this daily battle and maybe help me stop looking at my body as playing for the opposing team. So thanks very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this and found some tips that you can use in your own life or share with someone else. And speaking of sharing, I'd love it if you would share this podcast, if you have found it at all valuable, with your friends on your social media channels, Facebook, Pinterest, all those usual suspects. And I'll see you back